Back pain is one of the most common things all pregnant people complain of. Pregnancy brings a lot of changes in our body, and the growing belly is constantly putting strain on the lower back. So when you look at the spine, instead of being its normal soft curve, for the most part, what we notice is pregnant bellies put the spine forward, creating this kind of pinching in the back, which is the most common reason why we experience back pain. So here are a couple of things that you can do sort of at the end of a long day to relieve that stress on the back that comes from just being pregnant. So for the first stretch, you're going to start in all fours. If you have knee troubles, make sure you have a nice pad like this. Your hands are under your shoulders and your knees are under your hips. Your feet are separated, but if you're feeling very pregnant and need your knees to be wider than what I am doing, that's totally fine. You're going to be in all fours and round out your back. So you're doing like a yoga pose of cat-cow. You're rounding your spine as far up as you can. Hold for a couple of seconds. And then we're going to reverse that curve by arching your spine. Now, if that feels good, continue to go full range of motion. But it is absolutely fine to just stop here and not go into the arch. So we're going to do about a few of those. Round out your back like you're rounding your upper back, tucking your tail in, pulling your belly button in towards your spine. Feel the stretch. Hold for a second. Reverse that. This should generally feel good on your body. Now, we're going to move the entire spine, but make sure you don't forget this part of the spine. If you don't know what I'm talking about, have somebody place their hand on your lower back, and when you're rounding your back, make sure you are rounding the lower back as well and not just stopping in the upper back. If it feels good, hold longer. Maybe 5 to 10 of those. And after you finish those, go into a child pose. Open your knees as wide as you need to accommodate for the pregnant belly, and just hang out. This should feel like a deep stretch onto your upper back, lower back, and just generally feel good. Keep walking your fingers away until you feel like you can't go any further. If you tend to feel tight in just one side of your back, then move your hand to one side and get the stretch onto just one side. Go ahead and switch sides. And whenever you feel like you got a good stretch out of it, come out of that position. Now we talked about how pinching of the lower back gives you that pain. So these stretches are supposed to help open that pinching that comes from just being pregnant and the belly pulling the spine in that position. But keep in mind that when you spend the rest of your day in different postures, pay attention to that spine. There is some amount of arching that is bound to happen because you're pregnant, but don't give into it and fall forward. So if you tend to let your hips just totally fall forward when you're standing, try to bring your hips back onto your heels and see how that changes the curve in your spine. So once again, what we don't want is this. What we do want to do is kind of bring it back and soften that spine a little bit. Okay, those were for the back. And the other area where most people feel tight sort of at the end of the day is the hips and the buttock. So this is one of my favorite things to do. Find a comfortable chair or a couch to sit on. Cross your leg on top of the other like you're putting a sock on. If your foot keeps sliding out, hold on to it with your hand. The other hand is just for support, and become really tall. Pretend like somebody's pulling your ponytail up towards the ceiling so you become real tall. You should feel that stretch somewhere in this area. So in your buttock, in the back of the thigh, even inner thigh. You're not supposed to be feeling any tingling, numbness, or any nervy sensation. This should feel like a deep buttock stretch, which just usually feels good. Whenever you feel like you got enough out of it, go ahead and switch sides. Even if you feel pain or discomfort just on one side, you're supposed to be doing stretches on both sides to even it out, okay? Now realize that all the things that we went over are general advice for general back pain felt during pregnancy. If you're experiencing any pain or if you're dealing with any medical or obstetrical complications, please speak to your provider before you try any of these videos.